Hello everyone and welcome to an episode of openHR where I'll be showing how just to use the system overall. Thank you for the opportunity and allowing me to do this today. So first of all, we can sign in, and I've already registered. If you want to register, you can do that on the sign up link. So I'll be signing in, and I've also already created a company, but if you want to create a company, you simply click on create company. All that is required is your company trade name and the currency which your company trades in. We're in South Africa, so you can just select South African Rand. But it's also nice to add a logo for your company. Don't make it too large. The system will, however, resize it to a more acceptable size. And yes, then you can save. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to select the company I've already created, and here it is. And then I'll quickly create a new employee. You can see there's one employee there and also an employee that was already terminated. I'm going to go back. So to create an employee, you can click on the add button. The only thing you need to give for an employee is the employee names, so that can be John, and the employee's start date. So let's make that on the 1st of September. What would benefit a lot if you select a pay frequency. I'm going to select monthly year, but you don't need to. But yeah, I'm going to select monthly year as well. And then save. And as easy as that, you've got an employee. I see there's now 2 Johns. I'm going to edit this and make it bit, because we don't want 2 Johns. There you have it. You've added an employee. What would also be beneficial is if you add the employee's birthday, because then the system can notify you when the employee when it's the employee's birthday. So let's make that the 3rd of May. You can also select gender, the race for your reporting on your BE things or employment equity. If your business is big enough to do that reporting, some businesses have to. And what's nice here is you can put in shoe size, you can put in shirt size, and then also pant size as well. And yeah, you can put in all the other information which is required. Also, if the employee qualifies for ETI, it's your responsibility to make sure the employee is not too old, the employee is not related, and all those other requirements. But there is a link for you if you want to. But yeah, you can put that in as well. And then I'm just going to save that update. And as you can see, the update's pulled through immediately. What is nice about this system, it doesn't update what you see and then send the information to the server. It actually sends the information to the server and then sends the updates back to what you see, and then only updates what you see. So if it's updated on the screen, it's updated on the server side as well. The server is also in a load shedding free country in Europe, so you saw how fast that was, and that was how fast it communicated from here in Joburg to Europe and back. That's how fast it communicated. The internet is just super fast. And also the server which we're using is super fast. It processes information quickly. We use the latest web technologies to give you the most efficient and fastest experience possible. But hey, things do happen. So touch wood that they do not happen now. But yeah, so we've added an employee. Here you can see there's free options, free screens for the employees. One is advances, directives, payslips, and rates. The next is assets, expenses, leave, reviews, and the last one is training, transgressions, and permits. So all these functions are also here, which you can manage them. Sometimes it's better to manage it within the employee profile. Sometimes it's better to manage it in bulk. Like payslips, you don't want to do one for one payslip. You actually want to create payslips in bulk. Then you can do it from this screen here. Let's go back to the employee and review all the different functions. So with payroll, under the payroll screen, is your employee profile. All of the screens have the profile screen. You can update the photo if you want to, and you can print a confirmation of employment very quickly, but there will be an issue because we didn't put in what the employee is doing. The letter actually didn't put in what the employee was doing. But yeah, so confirmation of employment, a certificate of service can also be printed, and confirmation of address. Okay, so there's just the extra things, but obviously there's no address, so the system is leaving that blank. Yeah, so here you can add your payslip very quickly. Pay rates. I would put in pay rates because it makes it easier to process everything. So let's put in, I want to put in an hourly rate, but I see there's no hourly rate here. So I'll go to settings and then pay transactions. Then I'll quickly add a new hourly rate. So the RP5 code is easy. That's just normal income for an hourly rate. And then I'll just put here hourly rate. There it is. Very quickly added. Go back to an employee, payroll, pay rates, and now hourly rate is there. Then I'll put quantity 0 because then it doesn't automatically add the pay when I create a new pay slip. I have to physically go put in how many hours that employee worked. You'll see that in a second. And then the hourly rate for PIT is 30 Rand. Okay, but now let's do is overtime as well. So here I go overtime, quantity 0, and overtime rate times 1.5 for 30 Rand would all obviously be 45 Rand, and then the double overtime rate we can add as well for Sunday work, quantity again 0 and 60 Rand for that. And there you can see all of that quickly added, and we can edit that if we want to, whenever we want to, very quickly. Okay, now as you'll see, they're both monthly employees. Let's quickly create the pay slips. I'll go here and create the batch pay slips from here. I'll just put in, I'll select the frequency both for monthly, and then I'll put in the period. So I'm gonna make it from October, I want to show you something. October has 31 days. Now I'm going to create it. Look how quickly it creates it. And it did the calculations as well. So now it should do something else. Here you'll see it gave me a notification. So here's a notification. I've created a payslip that has medical aid, employee doesn't have medical aid, okay, and also for Pete, yeah, I created a payslip for October, but he was employed before October, so obviously it will calculate the tax incorrectly. So if we go back to the payslips, I can quickly edit Pitt's payslip here. So let's say Pitt worked this month, he worked 160 hours. He had 2 hours of normal overtime. Enter, and there his payslip was calculated. This is just sample. Again, it made a new notification because I edited that payslip. But here is his payslip, and everything was calculated here, and also the annual leave was calculated as 2.46. And why 2.46? Because an employee gets 15, this employee gets 15 days of paid leave per year, and so it's calculated pro rata from the employment start date, which was the 1st of September, until the end of this payslip, which was 31st of October. And from the 1st of September till the 31st of October was 2.46 days, which he earned. Now, another thing, yeah, it's not 1.25, that's incorrect. I've heard lawyers say an employee should get 1.25 leave days per month. That is incorrect. The law says 1 day per 17 days worked, so pro rata is the better way to calculate that. Obviously, each month doesn't have the same amount of days. And yeah, now if I create a payslip from the 1st of September to the 30th of September, it won't adjust the leave because it already calculated the leave until the 31st of October. It will only calculate leave again when I create a payslip for an end date after the 31st of October. And that's as simple as that. Now, let's quickly have a look at something else. Let's say the employee wants to employee advance. We call it advances because that's the legal terminology. If we call it loans, there's National Credit Act implications, and we don't want that, and the Department of Labor also doesn't want that complications, so we call them advances because that's just what it is. You give an employee advance on his next pay. So if you want to do that for an employee, it's important to do it before you generate the new pay slips, because it will pull through only when you create the pay slip. Then it will calculate the deduction from it and do the necessary adjustments. What we did with advances is you create the employee advance. Pitt wants an advance. He wants a 200 Rand advance. He wants some money to use for an Uber. And let's say we add an admin fee because it might cost us R9.95 to process that, and that's the bank charges which we're adding for his account, which is sometimes fair. Or you might do it for free if you don't pay for EFTs, but some banks charge for EFTs. Then you can say what the deduction start date be. Obviously there's already a payslip for October, so it would be better not to do it for October, but we've prepared for that as well. So let's say the deduction start date would be the payslip for October, and deduction period will only be 1. Here you can see that there's the loan. What we've created as well is for you to be able to print this and quickly print it so you and the employee can sign. It's important to have things like this on paper and signed, because if you do deductions from payslips and something goes wrong and the employee goes and complain with the Department of Labor or the CCMA, this is the first document they will request, because the employee will take his payslip with him. They will see, here's a deduction, and the CCMA or the Department of Labor will want the paperwork. So we've made it easy for you. There's the paperwork. You can just print and quickly sign. Voila, sorted. Everyone is covered. Okay, so we'll just close this. Now, let's say we made a mistake. We should have added it to the payslip. Okay, what you can do, you can just show it. And it's not going to add it. Let's just edit the deduction date. I think. Let's just show it again. Now, okay. Because the deduction date is before the last payslip date, we can add it to the last payslip. Here the system says they've detected that, so I'm going to recalculate that. Okay. Now the system did something, and we can refresh, and we'll see the balance is 0. If we go back to advances, we'll see it's 0, and if we go to payslips and go to Pit's payslip for October, view that quickly, there is the advance deduction in full. Okay, and obviously you'll see the pay was made less with that amount as well. Okay, now something else which is nice to have is all your employee jobs. So you can go to services and jobs manager. That's the employee's job title basically. So let's say Pitt is a marketing assistant, and Pitt's job is all social media platform marketing, all visual designs, and visual communications, things like that. You can give a better description, or you can elaborate, and then you can just save that. Now let's go back to employees. We go edit Pete here, and we can select his job as marketing assistant, and we can save it. Now when we view his profile and we print one of those documents that makes our lives a bit easier, we see something very nice. We see the system says Pitt is appointed as marketing assistant, and some of his duties, because we said he is a male in his demographics, in his profile. Some of his duties include all social media platform marketing, all visual designs, and visual communications. Voila, as simple as that. Now all that will have those descriptions. So we clicked on the HR item. Under the HR profile, you could say, you've got your asset checkout, you've got your expenses, your leave, your opening balances for the leave, which you could go edit, but since, there's already leave calculated, it won't change much. You can quickly go view his history. Scratch that. Scratch that. The leave history you can view from there, from the report. Only if you edited this. Okay. The opening balance, it will show more history. Yeah, that I edited it. So that's what the history does. You can also add attachments if you've got an openHR Plus subscription, and you can add notes here for free. The notes are still free. Only we charge for attachments because it uses a lot of storage space. So here we can just add a note. No changes made when editing, just showing all the viewers, and we can save that. Here you can see the note was added. Yes, then you can also add leave here if you want to from here directly. As you can see, it's already selected. Select what leave, blah 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 blah. And then you can also print it. Expenses you can add. So this is expense claims from employees. Sometimes they might claim, for they traveled, so you want to reimburse them. They stayed somewhere overnight for training or to see a client, and you have to give them their allowance because they were traveling. So things like that you can manage here, and then you can keep a nice record of all of those things. Now the assets which the employee have. So first we need to go add an asset. Oh, there is an asset added. There's an asset already added, but you can manage your assets from settings and assets, and then you can list all your assets here. As you can see, John actually has that currently. So let's go to services and asset checkouts. Let's return that asset because we want to give it to Bit now. So the asset was returned today times now, and we can add photos as well. And as you can see, that was immediately updated. Now let's give that to John, to Pete. So we give the laptop to Pete. Checking it out today, 51, and just the same as before. Save that. Now if we print this, also again paperwork, we see paperwork as important, it just covers you. If there were any photos, the photos will be on here as well, but because then if the employee brings it back and something's not the same, you can say, but yeah, you signed, that's the condition it was supposed to be, and something's wrong. Okay, so yeah, then you can print that and everything is sorted. So we covered the employees, we covered the loans, we discussed the expense claims quickly, the leave as well. If you want to, you can add your own leave types like study leave, maternity leave, if that's paid. I don't feel the unpaid leave types should be on here, because, if they're not earning anything during that time they're taking it, it can be regarded as allowed unpaid leave, justifiable unpaid leave. But I don't want to put that in, but you're welcome to. As you can see, there's some complex calculations in here, which I'm not going to discuss, but that is what it is. So we've discussed the payslips. Permits is another nice feature. So if your employee has a working from heights permit or anything like that, it's nice to add it here. You can add permit number and the expiry date, because then the system will send you a nice little email and give you a notification when a month before that expires, so you'd know then, okay, you've got a month to sort this out. And if the employee also has an email on their profile, the employee will also get an email to notify them, look, this is going to expire, you should get a new one and give it to HR. So let's say that will expire the 1st of December. You can add a copy of the file as well. So if you've scanned it in, you can add it there, save, and there's the permit as well. And it will be on the employee's compliance profile as well here. So everything in one place for the employee. Then you can also do surveys for employees. So let's say you can select all the employees if you want to. Then title is, what are we having for the braai? And what we are planning a braai. Then the expiration date, let's do that just for tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. And then we're not going to keep the responses anonymous, but if you don't, the system will tell the employee. So let's quickly create that. Now we're in the survey. Now we need to add questions quickly. So let's just add a question. What are we having for the braai? And not multiple choice. Let's keep it single answers. So are we having a flatty, which is chicken? Are we having some ribs? We had ribs today for our braai. Or are we having some matured rump, which we also had? And then you can just save that, and then you can send it off. So our employees do not have emails, so you can just share the link on WhatsApp, but because there's no telephone numbers for the cell phone numbers for the employees entered, it will not give the correct number. Or you can just copy the link here, which is a unique link for the employee, and you can send it to them manually. And once everyone gave the results will be here, and then you can know what to buy for the braai. And then another feature which we're very proud of is the training feature, where you can list all the employee training, which was here. And obviously the cost will be the cost of the training itself, and also the labor cost of that employee, the salary you paid that employee during that time. Then you can keep all the records there, and then you can use that records to claim back your skills development levy, which you pay every single month to the government. And you can use this with your skills facilitator to claim some of that money back. Also, what here is your transgressions. So if an employee comes late one too many times and you want to motivate the employee to rather not come late but come on time every day. You can use this. If you want to adjust the disciplinary code, you can do it here. But yeah, so you can quickly create a transgression here or a warning. Let's say the employee was late today. So your first warning is obviously valid for 3 months. It's usually a verbal one, which you can just record here. You don't need to sign it, but you can print it out and sign it as well. Keep everything on paper. Your written one is also valid for 6 months. As you can see, it's quite complete and comprehensive. But there it is. So it's obviously valid for 6 months. Your final written warning is valid for 12 months. So 6 months would be here. And then you can add notes if you want to, but it's not necessary. It's good to elaborate, but it's not required. So you can save that, and then again you can print it, because paperwork is important should the employee go complain at the Department of Labor or CCMA. And yeah, you can sign here, the employee can sign here, and a witness can sign. And if an interpreter was required, an interpreter can sign there as well. Speaking of interpreter, another nice feature which we're very proud of is you can add the languages your employee speaks. So all the official languages are added here in the world, official government languages. Not all the languages are added because there's so many of them. And also one thing we're not sure of how to handle, there's so many different sign languages that we've just put sign language, because there's obviously your South African sign language, there's your American sign language, there's your French sign language. So they're not all the same. Sign language is not the same. I bet you didn't know that, but that is added. So Piet speaks Afrikaans and Piet speaks a bit of English when he wants to, and then you can save. And then if you read the employee profile, you'll see all the languages listed there. Then you can also know, would we need an interpreter for the documents? No, he can speak English very well. Then obviously there's some more services here. You can print your blank information sheet, which is quite nice. It will have your company logo if you've uploaded that. And when you get a new employee, you can quickly print this and let them fill that out, so you can easily add them to your payroll. You've got your disciplinary code, your expense claims. Another nice feature, if you've got your whole team on here, by the way, you can add your whole team, everyone in admin. You can add as users. You can add as many users as you want. And if the whole admin team's on here with their different permissions, you can add an extension list of your employees. So Piet is at extension 401, and then reception can just view this, and they've got all the employees on here, and reception can quickly view this if she doesn't remember all the extensions. And you can print it out, or you can copy and paste it into Excel, and make it nice the way you want it, because it's so easy to copy and paste this, Control C, and then you paste as plain text in Excel. So there's your jobs, which we covered, the leave, payslips, permits. There's employee reviews, which we did not cover. So your employee reviews, you can do whenever you want, as many times as you want, and this is just to keep track. And we've added a default template for you, which you can manage from here. And as you can see, the items available is shows ability to learn, and when you complete that, that's a nice, I believe it should be a 5-star rating system. Review was for his first month, and we're doing the default review, and it's just for Pete now. So we're going to save. Okay, then we can add respondents. Wait a minute. Pete cannot review himself. I should have selected the other employee, but yeah. So let's just copy that link and show you. So this is the review, and you can add general notes. Let's do it quickly. He's a good employee. Okay, let's refresh this. So it gives you a nice little score on all the items. Here you can see the notes that were added, and obviously it will give the average if there was more than one respondent. It will give the average of that score, and it will add all the notes of all the respondents in here, and all the general notes it will list down there for you. But yeah, as you can see, a nice 5 was given to Pete, an overall score of all those averages. And that was basically all the services. Let's check the settings. You can add as many users as you want. Assets, I've showed you. Expense categories, that's for the expense claims. You can add more here if you want to. Leave types, you can add more leave types. Pay transactions, that's the hourly rates if you want to. Your pay rates is just all the employees' rates in one screen, but that's better to manage it from the employee profile directly here, because you don't want to get too confused with that. And then you can add here also under settings a payslip message, universal payslip message, Christmas closure from 16 December to 2nd of January, and then that will print on all the payslips if you save it. Then yeah, there's your review templates as well, which I showed you. Yes, and that is your settings. Now there's also some quite a few reports which you can do. Your basic MP201 report. Let's do one for October. As you can see, there's the UIF Those were all paid. As you can see, there's old payslips in here as well, because I did the payslips after I did September's report. Obviously, if I've submitted September's report and I do back pay payslips, that will form part of October's report, because they were only paid in October. So even though the payslip is for a previous period, you only paid them in October. It forms part of October. It complies with the Income Tax Act. You only paid them in October, so then it was only taxable, and you're only liable to pay over the pay as you earn then as well. Okay, and the only person that had UIF payable was BIT. You'll see no STL was calculated, because if we go to our company settings, we do not have an STL number edited or inserted. So if you want STL calculated, you just put that STL number in there as well. Then the system will calculate STL. So that was the EMP 201 report. You can do reports on advances. As you can see, there was the advance, there was the deduction done. You can do which I love, the clothing report. So if you want to buy clothing, new uniforms for the employees, this is all in one place. Another report is the employees report, and you can select what fields should be shown. So you can just select the fields by selecting a field and then keeping in control when you select a new field, and then you can select for which employees as well. And now here's all that info for all that employees. Obviously I didn't select name, so we don't know for who is who, because I didn't select name in the fields as well. Then also in reports is your expense claim reports, but no expense claims were done yet for anyone. You've got your RP5s as well, but it's going to give quite a few errors because I didn't put in all the info for all the employees or the company. The same with the UIF report. It's going to complain a bit, so yeah, there's quite a few things which we should fix first in the employee profile, in the company profile. You've got your leave report. Here you've got your net pay report. Only the payslips that were created in the bulk payslip function will show here. The payslips created in the individual employee profile. You can create one payslip at a time. This will not show here, unfortunately, as listed here and explained here as well. So here's that one. There's quite a few. Let's see if it wasn't in that one. It was in that one. So here's the net pay for the employee. Okay, there's no bank details entered, so there's no details there. You'll see this one, which I also did. Sarah has a waving hand next to it. That means she was terminated a while back. So yeah, she's no longer on the system. It's just to make it easy to identify. She's no longer working here, and that's going to be system-wide everywhere in the system. Then you can also email the payslips quickly from here as well, and they'll email all the payslips for everyone that has email addresses. And you've got your transgressions reports, and with that the UIF, and then your year-to-date, which is also nice. It's an actual year-to-date report. It only shows the months which are available, but obviously only, so we only did payroll for 2025. So yes, that information for the employees. Yeah, that is openHR. It's very powerful. You can add as many companies as you want. You can add as many users per company as you want. Yes, and there's a nice audit trail which shows you who did what and when. Um, I should go edit this out, and then you can also delete the company if you don't want to see the company again. And yes, that is most of openHR. I probably missed a few features. Um, Forgive me if I did. Go play around with it. It's free. The reason it's free is because we've had our own issues with our software. You can give us a rating if you want. It's a nice little face. Give us a nice little rating there. But the reason openHR is free is because we've had our own troubles with payroll, and we wanted something that works, and we created this, and we've made it available for other companies as well, to do this and to create it. And we've got great support, so if you want to, you can immediately WhatsApp us with a simple click there. Yeah, thank you for listening, and have a good day further.